This is Joshua Hart here for Seconds Out. Delighted today to be joined by heavyweight Jeremiah Milton, Dreamland. Jeremiah, first of all, thank you very much for your time today. And how are we doing, sir?
Hey, feeling good, Josh. Appreciate you for tapping in, bro.
So it's always better to have you on. You know, you're a big heavyweight. You've got a lot of experience when it comes to talking about these big names, which is what we're going to be doing today. But before we do that, we're going to talk about yourself. It's been about a month now since we last had you over here on Seconds Out. Has there been any movement within your career and looking at a fight date? We know that you're looking at getting back in the ring. Just give us an update.
Yeah, no, I think I do have some progress now. I got a date probably potentially I'm looking at locking in, so it'll be maybe in the next couple months I'll actually be back in the ring. But taking any opportunities in between that in the meantime, if something was to come up. But yeah, I do actually have a date that I'm looking at, a couple of things I'm negotiating. So the main thing has just been, making sure that my training, getting everything for myself back together, especially conducting business, the business side of boxing. Unfortunately, it takes a lot out of you. So that's been like the major holdup is just trying to figure out the business. Yeah, no, but I'm excited. I'm ready to come back. I'm working every day. And I plan to return in a different fashion, you feel me? So it'll be good.
It's very good to hear. Obviously for yourself, you're someone who's doing boxing for the enjoyment of the sport. I think that's the reason why anyone who's involved in boxing does it. Does it get frustrating when the business end of the sport holds you up and, it doesn't let you do what you love, which is getting in the ring and fighting with someone?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Especially when you see all these guys, they're getting their fights and everybody seems to be having a good time. I'm very spiteful. I want mine too, you feel me? But at the same time, it's all about perspective. And I mean changing your perspective. Everybody, kind of wants things to happen on their timeline. And you want things to happen on your timeline. But sometimes those things aren't necessarily um, you know, God's will, Allah's will, you know what I'm saying? So you have to then just be patient and, focus on the good things and stuff like that. And, it's all about perspective, changing that.
Obviously, you mentioned, seeing these other guys get opportunities, it makes you spiteful. Are we going to see a spiteful performance when you get back in the ring?
Absolutely, absolutely. You know what I'm saying? I'm banking on it, you feel me? Uh, and that's just the thing too. Like the heavyweight division is shaking up, you feel me? People are taking their losses now, you know what I'm saying? And I think that's gonna make people want to fight even more. So yeah, I just see like, okay, now we got undisputed out the way. Things are going to start opening. They've already been opening up with these big cards in Saudi and stuff like that, but I think things are going to start flowing a bit faster for everybody.
Obviously, you mentioned undisputed. Since we last had you on, we have had an undisputed champion crown. We've also had a lot of movement in the heavyweight division with some of the top names. Before we get on to just this past weekend in Saudi with the 5v5, I'd love to get your thoughts on undisputed Fury versus Usyk. Sitting down and watching it, what did you make of that fight?
Uh, it played out. I've shared the ring with Tyson Fury, as most people know. And from my experience sharing the ring with him, I had just thought Usyk would be a kryptonite, from just kind of the things, what I'm saying, that he finds challenging, Um, and so yeah, I thought it was a great fight. I thought, Fury had an opportunity early, but you see how Usyk is he pulls away. He pulls away. His gas tank is really amazing at the end of the fights and stuff like that. And you know, again, I feel like there was like a silent passing of the torch with the better British heavyweight. You know what I'm saying? I think Anthony Joshua kind of holds that right now, in my opinion. Um, and there's just things that I kind of seen that led up to it. It was a great fight, great performance by both men. Definitely would love to see it again, see how Fury approaches it differently. I think Usyk will have a bit of the same mindset. He's unbothered by a lot of things, so he kind of knows how to skin those cats. I don't think he'll change his game plan much. He does what he does, and it just happens to be better. Um, but still, great performance. Not super shocked. You know, Fury's been down what, uh, maybe like 4 times against the elites, you know, so he's kind of prone to going down and known for getting back up. I wasn't upset about them not stopping the fight, especially given his track record. You know what I'm saying? He's gonna find a way to recover, and they're gonna allow him to recover. So yeah, you just gotta continue to stick it to him, and that's what Usyk did.
When you look at the fight, it was almost a fight of two halves. I think a lot of people were in agreement after about 6, 7 rounds. Fury almost looked like he was in cruise control, pulling away with it. But as we all know, you can never sleep on Usyk, and he found that right hand or left hand. He found the shot, and it landed on Fury's chin, and that was where the real turning point was in most people's eyes. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. That shot probably sealed it from being a draw or even a Fury win, maybe. You know, but at the same time, you know, I looked at like all aspects of the fight. You know, Fury got too many chefs in the kitchen. You know, he had his trainer. You know, he had his other trainer. He had you know, his dad. Everybody's telling him, 3 people telling him different things. Hey, you know, he's an elite fighter, best of the best, you know what I'm saying? Lifetime, once in a lifetime type of talent guy. But yo, even at that, you know, level, you can't have all these people telling you, well, maybe you should step around, maybe you should hit him like this. Yo, just one voice, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, and you got to figure out which voice to listen to. You know, maybe he seemed like he was listening, trying to pick out from everybody or something like that. It's a lot of confusion. But you know, hindsight, whatever.
Fair enough. We've been given the news recently, just last week, that we have a date for the rematch, December 21st. So it's not the October date that we all expected, but it gives time for the fighters to rest up, recover. We know Usyk took an injury to the jaw in that fight. What needs to change on both sides to either Usyk to stay on top or Fury to dethrone him? What needs to change?
Fury got to step on him. You know, I feel like, you know, everybody could see that he did hurt him a few times, but you know, he didn't go in and put that exclamation point. Like we watched again, not to switch, but Zhang hurt Deontay and he immediately stepped on him. Like, you know, and that's a big puncher, of course, but you know, you have to get after these guys and, you know, push them out the door. um, you know, they got the best poker faces at the top, but there was some hellacious uppercuts. You know, his body attacks were working really well. I feel like Fury only got caught when he was throwing those meaningless shots. You know, if you watch it back, he's throwing a little short combination while he's stepping around with nothing on it. It's no bad intention. So Usyk just fires over the right hand and boom, he clips him. You know, so I believe Lennox Lewis had posted something a few years ago about like, you know, when people just run their hands and there's nothing on it, and then somebody's just looking for that and they load up, bam, and it just changes the course of the whole round, you know. So being a little bit more economical, being smarter, you know, step into them. And then for Usyk, like I say, he just got to be himself. You know, he brings a lot of different things to the division. You know, that is challenging for a lot of these guys. So yeah, for a guy like him, I consider like you have to get him out of there early. Because or you gotta have to sprint at the end with him because he's gonna start sprinting.
You mentioned Fury obviously hurting Usyk multiple times, but at the same time also throwing meaningless combinations. Do you almost like it, if I was to say the saying, you're playing with your food? Do you feel that's what Fury was almost doing? Cause we know he loves to entertain the crowd, and we could see it as early as the first round. He was putting his arms on the ropes and doing some sort of movements in the corner. Do you feel he was just playing with Usyk and just thinking this is easy now?
Yeah, yeah, to a certain degree, but I feel like the showboat was a little effective because Usyk didn't know what to do with. He was looking. Sometimes he's looking, then he was stepping back. You know, it's effective. You know, it plays to the crowd, it plays to the judges. Um, you know, but when you land those proper shots, you know what I'm saying. Now it's time to go ahead and step to him. You know, and then also just be the bigger man. You know, I don't know what type of program he was on, but like again, and Deontay Wilder's, he's a completely different guy. But at the same time, like the strategy in the second fight for Wilder, Fury was very strong in the legs. He was very commanding. Like even whenever they shoved each other at the weigh-in, like Fury didn't even move. Like I felt like whatever program he was on, boxers tend to stay away from the weights and the strength stuff. But like, when you're automatically the bigger guy, it's good to have that extra, push in the hips and in the sack. So like, he needs to be able to command himself coming forward a bit better. Continue to go to the body, and then because those, it was almost like reminiscent of Devin Haney, Lomachenko, those body shots. I don't know what it is about that group, but they don't seem to protect that body very well. So I'm gonna definitely keep that in mind, even though I'm, what I'm saying, hopes up against hopes. But yeah, if I was in there, I'm hitting that like all day. It was a good breadbasket shot he was getting off, but yeah, he stopped doing it. He began to headhunt, and the meaningless shots. What I mean by the meaningless shots were just like, he when he got caught, he was throwing punches, but they were just kind of like, you know, punches that were disguised to give himself a break. You know what I'm saying? If you again, everybody's different. They want to try to score, and those are technically scoring shots, but they're not doing anything. So, give yourself some space, defend yourself, keep the hands up because he's shooting over the top. Um, yeah, yeah, not so much the showboat. When he's off the ropes and he was leading with the right left, those were landing, you know what I'm saying? And they look pretty big. Um, but yeah, I don't think you can hang with him on the conditioning side just because he's such a big guy.
Moving forward, like I said earlier, we had two massive fights in the heavyweight division just this past weekend. We start off with Daniel Dubois versus Filip Hrgovic, a fight that we thought was going to be for the vacant IBF title, but it seems Usyk has been granted to keep that title going into the rematch, but we're not sure yet. We don't know how it's all going to play out. Just give me your thoughts on that fight. It was almost a real feel-good moment when Dubois got his hand raised, wasn't it?
Absolutely. I've been a part of a few Dubois camps, and that's what's brought me out to London a couple times. I talk with his pops, a little how you doing? Hey, good, great win type stuff, nothing deep. But yeah, yeah, of course, what I'm saying. You want to see Daniel doing good. I feel like, he's such a he's just a different character, you feel me? But yeah, with Hrgovic talking about the spine and stuff like that from 4 or 5 years ago, spine is just spine, you know what I'm saying? You don't want to get too gassed up on it, and I think it's, kind of classless. They actually hit me up to come out there and help spar, and I'm like, nah, dog, I'm not about to help you with my boy, you feel me? Like that's my guy. So like quality sparring, you gotta have quality spawn. Um, and Dubois has had, his test. He's had his test. Back when Joe Joyce, uh, he's still a pretty volume punching type of guy, but he was really throwing a lot of punches, and that'll wear you out. You know what I'm saying? If you don't know how to deal with that volume. So his two losses were against people who I believe to have good stamina in late rounds of fights. Usyk and Joe Joyce. Um, and so, yeah, I don't think people was really realizing what Dubois could do. Now his changing of things and finding a program that works for him. You know what I'm saying? Still allows his dad to be in it. And having his dad there, you can hear him on TV shouting at the ring. I think that gives him air of confidence to keep pressing on. Because, I mean, he was taking shots in the beginning of that fight. You know what I'm saying? He was just eating those right hands. But I predicted that Hrgovic has been showing after about 6 rounds, he just checks all the way out. And, you know, that's about where his dip happened, was around the sixth. And yeah, the stoppage was a good stoppage. It wasn't going to get any better. And it was just no surprise on that end for me.
You mentioned finding the program that works for you quite a bit here. We've seemed to have found that with Dubois now because while Daniel's always had or most people have always been in agreement that he's got all the skills and the ability. Something that he's lacked is the mental strength. When it gets tough, people have labelled him a quitter and saying that he doesn't want to be there. Since he's made this move to Don Charles, he's had two very tough fights in Jarrell Miller and now Filip Hrgovic, and fights where he's been tested and he's been hit, but he seems to have overcome that now. Do you feel he's almost silenced those doubters?
Oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. And you can't be surprised when somebody brings it up again. Um, that's the sport we live in, and it's very critical and judgmental, and people just want to, write you off even after you prove yourself. Um, they still writing AJ off to a certain degree, but you gotta, hey, you need those doubters, man. At least they're gonna if they're talking about you, you know what I'm saying, then they're watching you. So uh yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if any of those people kind of stay there. I thought the Jarrell Miller fight was a very, exciting fight. Once again, Daniel's been in some good fights. But yeah, even when you see him getting drilled with these right hands, you're thinking like, oh man, here it comes. It's just a matter of time. And look at him, you know what I'm saying? He stood in there, you feel me? Um, Again, not the way I'd like to go out, you know what I'm saying, just getting drilled over in the head. But at the same time, hey, it's boxing and he toughed it out.
Do you feel Daniel's now found the program for him? Because while in the fight with Hrgovic, he was down on the cards when you look at the judges' scores, but it was a competitive fight the whole time it lasted. It was seeming going down into that second half of the fight. He was starting to come on top. Do you feel he's found that program that works for him?
Maybe so, maybe so. I mean, I don't know how much more he can add to his game, He is he's a fighter that's kind of straight up and down. I would say steak and potatoes, and I say that respectfully. Um, you know, I don't know if he's gonna add too much more defense, but damn it, don't get hit with those right hands, dog. You know what I'm saying? He did make adjustments. He started stepping back, keeping the left a little bit higher. Um, I would like to see more defense from him. Um, there's no way you're just getting hit with like 80 right hands in the first round. It just don't make sense. But that's gonna be hopefully maybe for them to discuss or something like that to kind of figure that out. I don't, he's made improvements from a technical side, but they've been very slight. You know what I'm saying? But his heart and his desire has carried him much further.
And now, obviously, after Saturday night with Dubois beating Hrgovic, the talk before the fight was that the winner of Hrgovic Dubois was going to face Anthony Joshua in September at Wembley Stadium. It seems it's going to be Daniel Dubois. Frank Warren has said that talks have started for that fight. Do you feel Dubois has the fundamentals, and if that defense gets improved, does he have the fundamentals to compete with Anthony Joshua?
This form of AJ right here, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I don't think that's I think it's actually a good fight. Yeah, I think it's a good fight. I think it's gonna be a sleeper type of a fight. Um, but man, you gotta watch AJ's performance with Otto Wallen and stuff like that. People were looking at like, oh, he knows the guy, and you know what I'm saying? But even with the Francis Ngannou, Francis not being a boxer by any stretch of the imagination. It's the things that he's doing now, though, with Ben. It's the approach to training. It's the sharpness. Um, you know, I think he gives Usyk a real good run, Anthony Joshua. But here's the problem. This would be the third time y'all fought. So the rematch is what everybody looks forward to. And unfortunately, he wasn't in the right system to show himself in the rematch. But you want to argue now, like, oh no, just give him one more shot. But it's almost like, man, the people are like, nah, that's settled. But he is a different person, in my opinion, as of right now. And I think with the skill set and everything like that he's bringing to the table, it'll be really tough for Dubois because he's not gonna fade like Hrgovic. Um, and I mean, we ain't got to see him go in those later rounds just yet, but I mean, he kept a hellacious assault on the Otto Wallen. You know what I'm saying? And that was a very slick and crafty things that he hasn't shown. He hasn't shown that maybe in any part of his career. The spitefulness, yeah, but the how you set it up, you know.
These also, so
So we'll see.
we know that you've shared the ring with Anthony Joshua. Was he not like this then when you were sparring with him? Is he almost a completely new fighter now?
I would say he has a lot more intention in his movements. Yeah, I would say, I gotta even for the sparring that we had, it's kind of night and day what he's trying to do now. He would even hesitate on a shot here and there, or if he knew he could set it up, then he'll go for it. But you know, right now he's in a good groove, man. He's in a really good groove, and a guy that big committing to the punch and you know, yes, it's dangerous for sure for anybody. So styles make fights. If you can get him back to second guessing and not being sure if the shot is gonna be there or something like that, then that's good for you. But he seems to be very confident in what he's doing right now.
And moving forward on to the last topic, we've got Deontay Wilder versus Zhieli Zhang, a fight where looking at the whole fight week, people were seeing Wilder's mindset and he seemed like a completely different fighter to just the previous December. But in the ring, it wasn't to be. Zhieli Zhang, like you mentioned earlier. He got him hurt and he stepped on the gas and got him out there. Watching that fight, what did you think of Wilder's performance?
I was watching with the fam, man. So I'm out here, and everybody like, why'd you throw punches? I'm like, man, come on, man, that ain't it. Like that's a big dude in front of. And then we was like arguing. Then my uncle was like, oh, but he down. I said, when has he ever been up? You know what I'm saying? Like he never been up in a fight. Wilder don't ever be up. He just lands the right hand. You know what I'm saying? But I thought he was being patient. I thought, he was trying to look for the shot. But then there's one clip where he just completely bails on throwing the right hand. And again, if you second guessing, if you're not confident um, in what you're doing or why you even supposed to be in that ring, it's not the place for you, dog. I don't think him and Malik Scott is a good pairing at all, period. Sorry, that's just my opinion. Malik got him over here dancing and skipping and doing everything but being a bronze bomber, you feel me? And the thing about it is, whatever happened, there's a different look in his eyes. As they say, the eyes don't lie, Chico. You feel me? His eyes is telling a completely different story. And you could just see that from his old films to like his interviews now. It's just he looking kind of spacey and not sure. And it's really a sad thing to see in its own way, but it's part of the game. And you know, it's almost like the effect of people. He don't believe in what he doing no more, and the people don't believe in his ability to do it. So, his bad habits like Lennox Lewis, failed him again. It's kind of like you've seen it coming. He would over commit or make a mistake, but I think this whole like I used to rate Malik Scott a lot actually, just because his strategy and his approach. Like he had a lot of good instinct. He has a great boxing brain, but it's also fighting. You know what I'm saying? And you lose the element of fight. I thought Gerald Washington's never been super impressive at all, but even in the Chisora fight, he ultra doled him down. You feel me? And I'm just like, yo, stop turning these guys into wimps, Malik Scott. You feel me? You got these guys out here acting like you when you fall, you know? Technician as you might be, but yo, you look like a fucking coward. You feel me? And it pisses me off. I'm sorry, I don't know the man, but it's just like, yo, man, let him go, let him go. You know, so yeah. The boxing element is crucial, but where's the fight in you?
And with Deontay Wilder, that is 4 defeats in his last five now. Where does he go from here?
Uh Back home to count a couple millions and maybe trick somebody again to thinking he needs to be in the ring. Um he need to chill out, bro. You don't want to see yourself go out like this, like, oh, you want to kind of go out in the glory sometimes, but that ain't everybody's story, man. You know, So before you get in there and you get like seriously hurt, uh, consider. Everybody thought AJ should retire. Now look at what happened with him. You know what I'm saying? He had a second coming of his career. I'm saying right now he looks better than he ever did. Um, so maybe, I don't know, but Wilder was 37, something like that, and you're not gonna teach him necessarily how to box. I don't know if anybody can really show him that. Um, but yeah, maybe like, sometime enough is enough.
And if Deontay Wilder is to retire, because that's what a lot of the talk is, and a lot of people are saying, like you said, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. Wilder's never been someone who's been known to be a slick operator. We know that he was just waiting for that right hand to land. If he is to retire, what legacy does Wilder leave behind?
Oh man, yo, for me, I really am. Like I say, man, I was defending them all the way until, it was over. And I'm still, a huge fan, supporter, whatever, even though I'm in the sport, you know what I'm saying? I enjoy Wilder, you know what I'm saying? I think he did an amazing career. He's had an amazing career for America. He represented, all of the things and all the feel good moments for boxing. You know what I'm saying? He gave us that. You know what I'm saying? He gave us the entertainment factor. He gave us the character, the charisma. Um, there's no doubt, like a guy like with such limited skills making his way to that position, hats off and respect to everything that he's accomplished in this sport. Like I say, you're not gonna get all the praise and glory no matter who you are, unless, you know what I'm saying, they want you to be in that position. It's such a weird sport we're in, yeah, because like, even with the Devin Haney, Ryan Garcia stuff, people don't even care that this man had something in the system. No matter how it got there, it's just like they still hate Devin Haney that much. So you're not supposed to be beloved by all the people, you know. You just have to, make peace with yourself. And yeah, you give yourself those. He got to give himself those props, man. He made it a long way. Deontay come a long freaking way.
And one thing that was reported, this is my final question. One thing that was reported going into the Zhang fight is that Turkey Al-Sheikh said if Wilder's to come through against Zhieli Zhang, he wants him to fight Jared Anderson on August 3rd on the Terence Crawford Madrimov card. There seems to be an opening there now. Jared Anderson's left without an opponent. Is that a spot that you could be filling?
Um, Jared is gonna say no to a lot of things. Um, he gonna say no to the things that don't make sense for him and his profile. Um, you know, you got risky fights out there, but nobody know how dangerous they are until you get them. I think they were trying to cash out with Wilder because even a shell shock Wilder, I think, you know, finds a way to land and knock out Jared Anderson for sure. Not going to outbox him by any stretch of the imagination, but he would have won that fight. Deontay would have won that fight. Um, Only because Jared can't punch his way through a wet paper sack, and Zhang is a completely different animal. I heard Jared say Zhang's name when Big Baby called him out, Miller, and nobody wants to fight Big Baby Miller because you don't know if you're gonna fight him or the steroids. But at the same time, he don't want a Zhang fight because this dude can't punch. He's a baby. You know what I'm saying? He is literally a baby. So they'll find somebody for him to fight. You know, my profile, they want to pretend like it's not there, but that's okay. You know, I'll continue to do what I got to do to raise myself, and it's funny, I'll end up outlasting all these guys, man. I will, so we'll see. We'll see what he does. It's not going to be Wilder as of any straight. Yeah, Wilder's not. He's not going to fight. You know what I'm saying? But Turkey is interested in him. Turkey wants Big Baby to, you know, be there because America's hyped him up to be something. But yeah, currently he still can't punch. don't be minded. Don't be fooled by the little knockouts and stuff that he's got and all that stuff. But yeah, any real threat is probably gonna hurt him.
Jeremiah,
At this stage.
I appreciate your time massively today. Thank you for hopping on, and let's catch up again soon. So I really enjoyed this. Thank you.
Josh, solid brother. Appreciate you.